I just move these out?
Yes, I'm going to move them.
We'll just do it.
Girls, do you want to grab a seat then?
We're just going to go, okay?
Yeah. Oh, a drink. Girls, do you want to come and grab a seat? Oh, brilliant. Okay, thanks.
Good morning and welcome to St Mark's Live. My name is Phil, this is Rachel. For those of you who are joining us here in the building, a very, very warm welcome to you. To those of us who are joining us online, great to have you with us. Oh, you can see we're here live in the building. We have a live congregation. I think they're live. They look alive. Can you give us a cheer through your kind of masks? Hey, look!
They're here.
They're alive. I don't know if that came through online, but I assure you there are people here, and maybe in future weeks we'll be able to show you some of their beautiful faces because they are here in person. It's great to have you with us. And if you're here for the first time, especially if you're joining us online for the very first time, it is great to have you with us. Do just hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. That will allow you to stay in touch with everything that we have got coming up today.
Because today, if you could notice something, is our third birthday. So 3 years ago, October 2017, a group of us came across from Gas Street in Birmingham to reopen this amazing building after 45 years shut down, and to replant a church, a resource church, in the centre of this amazing city. So today is really just a celebration of all that God has done over these past 3 years and an anticipation of what is yet to come. So we've got worship, we've got testimonies, we're going to be launching connect groups, thinking about Alpha and students. We've got a message from our Bishop Christopher. We've got cake, we've got bubbly, we've got balloons. So do stay with us and join in this celebration with us.
We can't wait. We're looking forward to sharing that all with you. But, celebration is a challenge, isn't it, in this season of COVID? Sometimes it feels like we're just struggling to get through. But birthdays provide us with that opportunity to look back and to give thanks to God for all that He's done. To think that 3 years ago we were launching this church. It's hard to believe what God has brought us through to reach this point and how faithful He's been. But also it's an opportunity to look forward into what God has got for us in the times to come. So that's our heart cry today, that we give thanks to God because of what He's been doing. We focus on the work of Jesus in this place because He's been so good and so faithful to us. I was just following a bit of the chat earlier on. Some of you are chatting already and people are just sort of saying, hey, can't believe it's been 3 years. People who were with us in those early days. I know the Pledges have been there, Shannon, the Cullips, who else? The Phipps, the Taylors, greetings from Karen and Andrew in Singapore, the Wiccans. Look, so many people who have just traveled with us. I know many of you who are here as well in person. You've been with us on this journey. And so we want to just give thanks to God today for all that He's done. So I'm going to pray and then we're going to worship together. Jesus, we just want to say thank you for all that you have done. It's hard to believe that 3 years ago we were launching this church in the midst of the dust and the rubble, but you have been faithful. And today we want to give you thanks for all that you have done. Come, Holy Spirit, and fill our hearts with praise to you now, that we'll be able to worship you in spirit and in truth. Amen. Let's worship together.
On the cross of Calvary, describes David's heart for God in the midst of the desert. And right now this might feel like a bit of a desert place, so why don't we read this psalm together as a form of worship. Oh God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh faints for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water. So I have looked upon you in the sanctuary, beholding your power and your glory. Because your steadfast love is better than life, my lips will praise you. So I will bless you as long as I live, and in your name I will lift up my hands. You might feel that you're in that desert place right now, in a dry and weary place. And why don't you just invite Jesus into this moment? It might help to close your eyes or open out your hands. But let's just invite his spirit into the dry and weary places in this moment right now. My soul thirsts, oh my soul thirsts for you. My soul thirsts for you. Let my soul thirst, let my soul thirst for you. Let my soul thirst for you. Let my soul thirst. In a dry and weary land, let my soul thirst for you. Let my soul thirst for you. Let my soul thirst for you. Jesus, for you. Oh, Jesus, only you. Let my soul thirst. For Jesus, only you. Oh, Jesus, only you. Let my soul thirst for you. Let the King of my heart be the mountain where I run, the fountain I drink from. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, he is my song. 'Cause you are good. You're good. Oh, you are good. You're good. Oh, let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. the king of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, he is my song, 'cause you are good, you're good. Oh, and you are good, you're good. Yeah, you're good. Oh, you are good, you're good. Oh, you are good, you're good. Oh, and you're never gonna let me down, no. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down, no, you won't. You're never gonna let me down. I know you won't. You're never gonna let me down, no. You're never gonna let me down. You never have. You're never gonna let me down, no. You're never gonna let me down, 'cause you are good. You're good, you're good. Oh, and you are good, you're good. Oh, and you are good, you're good. Oh, and you are good, you're good, you're good. Oh, and you're never gonna let me down, no. You're never gonna let me down. Oh, you will never let me down, no. Oh, you will never let me down, 'cause you are good, you're good. Oh, and you are good, you're good. Oh, you've always been so good. You are good, you're good. Oh.
Well, this is our birthday, and on our birthday, it's a time to celebrate who we are. And one of the things that's really important to us here at St. Mark's is to connect. We love to encounter, which is why we worship, to encounter God, but also to connect with one another. That's part of our DNA. So it seems apt that on our birthday, we're launching our Connect groups.
Absolutely.
We've got 8 groups that have currently gone live online. I can see some of the leaders of those groups sitting here, and we know there's lots of leaders sitting in their sitting rooms at home as well, or maybe in their beds, who knows. But we've got 8 groups live. We've got a few more coming online this week. We should have about 150 places in all, so plenty of space for anybody who wants to join up, and we will create more space if the demand is there. So we really hope that you will join up to a Connect group in this season. And earlier this week, you caught up with Rachel Mander and with Will and Emma Schooler, who are going to be leading some of the groups this autumn. So have a listen to this.
Emma, Will, Rachel, so good to have you join us today. Thank you ever so much for agreeing just to chat a little bit about Connect groups. Let's start with Will and Emma. I know you were involved in the prayer course over the summer. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about why you participated in that and maybe what you got out of it.
Yeah, so obviously I wanted to build on my baptism from last year, and it seemed like a really good place to build on that with the prayer course, to go through the Lord's Prayer bit by bit and listen to someone like Pete Gregg sort of unpack the message in the Lord's Prayer. So that was one of the main reasons for me. So.
Rachel, I know you were involved in a group, leading a group right at the beginning of this year, even before COVID. And I know the group carried on. What did you appreciate and what did you enjoy from running that course?
Yeah, so I loved being part of that group and leading it. We were 12 people. We started in January, I think, and it was just amazing to see people really start to support one another. And it wasn't like all on the leaders, it was people really started to come alongside each other. We had a WhatsApp group, and especially as lockdown happened midway through, people were really texting each other, saying what was going on in their lives and praying for one another, supporting each other in whatever way they could, with bread, flour, toilet roll, whatever it was. It was just like this real sense of community, these 12 people every week coming together and just sharing their lives. It was lovely.
I love that. And you've, all of you, all three of you have agreed to lead groups this coming autumn. Will, Emma, what made you want to lead a group? And I guess if you predict ahead through to Christmas time, what would you love people to be saying about the group that you've led in a few months' time?
I think we think the Connect groups are so important, and we found them so valuable over the years we've been at St Mark's, to build that community, to have those more in-depth conversations with people, and to unpack a topic where you wouldn't be able to do it in that depth on a Sunday. And since COVID, we have struggled having two little ones with connecting with all the online. So for us in an evening to just be able to sit down and give that time has been and will be really important.
Yeah, definitely.
Rachel, how about you?
It's nice, but like I said, it's really lovely to see everyone supporting one another. So yeah, I really enjoyed it and wanted to do it again. So this term, looking at a book on spiritual discipline, and yeah, the reason that, well, what I want to do and what I want to see by the end of that is that people will just have not a sense of a burden of discipline, of things they have to do, pray, fast, meditate, but there'll be a joy in it, that they'll have explored some of these things and be excited about it. And yeah, that they'll have come alongside each other again, and be some accountability, but in a fun way, like, we've tried this, it's not working, I tried this, it's not working, whatever it looks like, just building that community.
Well, you guys are all amazing. Thank you so much for agreeing to lead groups, and I commend your groups to everybody who are listening, and may they all fill up, and you guys have a great time as you lead in these coming months. Thanks ever so much for your time. Look forward to catching up soon. Cheers now. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Connect groups are just a key part of our life together, and particularly in this season where we're distanced from one another, we really need those supportive relationships and other Christians to kind of spur us on, don't we? So they're really, really important. And I think as we look back over the past 3 years of our history, we can see that so much of what God has done in us has been through these groups. And as we look forward, we know there's going to be those stories of new friendships forming, new people finding home in the church, perhaps for the first time, of new Christians taking those first steps with Jesus, of all of us going deeper with God. It's going to be so exciting. So which of these groups are you going to be part of? What story are you going to be telling in the months ahead? Go to our website, St Mark's Coventry.org. I should know that after 3 years. stmarkscoventry.org. Navigate through to the Connect Groups page and sign up. They've gone live?
They've gone live as of, I believe, now, well, as probably about 20 minutes ago, but there we go.
So get there quick.
Get there very quick, and do join us for those. They're going to be great. Alpha is another thing that we launched just last week. Had a great time at the very first Alpha. Now, you may have seen, if you follow Alpha just generally, that Alpha UK have released a brand new video just telling people a bit about what Alpha Online is like. Have a look at this.
Alpha Online is a free course designed to give you the space and time to ask the big and often challenging questions about life, faith, and meaning from the comfort of your own home. No filters, just honest discussion. Alpha Online is made up of a film series which are designed to create conversations around topics such as how can I pray? Who is Jesus? What is the meaning of life? Why is there suffering in this world? Each week you will have an opportunity to watch a short video and then chat about it with a small group of people who, like you, are also grappling with life's big questions, and no question is off limits. To attend an Alpha Online, all you have to do is sign up and then join a weekly online call, all from the comfort of your home. Everything else is taken care of by your hosts. So feel free to pour yourself a drink, get comfy, get your laptop ready, and you are good to go. What have you got to lose? Try Alpha Online.
We've got dog envy looking at that video. I don't know about you, what a gorgeous animal. But unfortunately, the dog doesn't come free with Alpha, but you can still be part of the course. And do think about joining us if you haven't done Alpha before, or you want to invite somebody, think about inviting them and coming to be with us. But that video we've promoted on our social media channels and via our Facebook page. Do think about just forwarding that to others. Think about how you could just signpost people to it, get them to look at the video. If they're thinking about the big questions of life, get them to have a look at it. It might be you can just share it across your Facebook friends. And it's just a great way to very easily invite people to be part of Alpha. So it's not too late. Share it now, share it later on, and we'll look forward to seeing you and your friends and your family. I can't think of anything better than to have my friends and my family on Alpha. So do have a think about that.
Brilliant. And finally, Student Night launches this Tuesday. We're going to begin at 7:30.
7:30.
7:30, and we're going to be done by 9. So it's just a great opportunity for students to connect in person, to worship together, to listen to a short talk and to respond to that. Now, of course, it's a free event, but sign up is essential. And lots of you students have already signed up. That is fantastic. But if you haven't yet had a chance to do so, do so soon, because
do so very soon.
Do so soon, because capacity is limited. But that's Student Night this Tuesday, so sign up for that today.
Well, we're going to take a short break now for us in the building. We have an opportunity to chat to those near to us, socially distance appropriately, of course. If you're at home, you've got a chance to have yet another cup of coffee, put the kettle on, have a break. If you'd like to give to support us in our work here as a church, this too is your opportunity to do just that. There'll be a slide that appears that tells you how you might go about that. The details are all available on our website, and we just are so appreciative of all the support that people give us to enable us to do this kind of work. So do take the chance to think about that, reflect, and we'll join you again in just a minute or so's time. Both blow those if you want to later on. All right? They have been touched. So we've got lots of great chats on those. Lots of great chats. Yeah, really good. Lots of people. Yeah, slightly.
How many people are there?
82 views. Okay, right. See you later. Well, we're going to gather back together again here in person. I hope you've had a chance just to refill your coffee cup at home. But we want to tell you a little bit about the story of St. Mark's and reflect on our journey. Part of birthdays is remembering. And so we thought we'd take you back to the beginning. And it began for us 2 days after Christmas, 2016, where we moved up here to Coventry to plant this resource church in the middle of this great city that we have. And when we first walked into the building, it was a complete mess. There were just lots of things left over from previous use. The building had been closed for 45 years. And the NHS had been using it, the Carriers of Hope had been using it, and we started to renovate the building, as you can begin to see. And we started to rip out the ceiling. We knocked down the wall that was sitting about where I am, was situated about where I am sitting right now. And we started to run what we called Kingdom Come events. Do you remember those?
They were amazing.
Kingdom Come, where we started to pray in the building, despite the rubble and the dust. We prayed in the middle of it.
And the cold. It was really cold.
I think people have said it colder than ever they can remember before. We also prophesied and we wrote Bible verses actually on the floor. So if you're here in the building, there are Bible verses written underneath the carpet where you are now sitting. You are literally sitting on the Word of God, things that we felt were right to pray into for this church. Tom and Charlotte came to join us at Focus 2017. We were sent out as a church, and a small team came with us, and we planted here in October 2017. James Henney had a key role in tirelessly helping us to open the building. And as we did so, that was it on the opening night. And then we had this great party. I don't know, who was here for the great party? Were a few here? A few of us who were here, a number weren't. We had a brilliant party that night. The place was full with 400 plus people. Balloons, of course. We have balloons on our birthdays. And we had a great night that night. I think we even made it onto Midlands Today, didn't we?
Yes, we did. And then year one, we launched into year one. And that was really a year of creation. Absolutely everything was new. And we just had one gathering in those days. So at 4 o'clock, we would gather the whole family together. We had kids groups with Becca Henney and then with Grace. And Sophie Green was amazing at gathering the youth together in those early days. And during that year, we launched Alpha, which is obviously such an important part of our DNA. And we launched Student Night, first in our home, actually, and then when that became overflowing in the church building under the leadership of Adam and Nicola Lowe, and wanting just to be a home from home for students right from the early days. And then as we approached winter, I remember it was a really snowy winter. Freezing. Because we actually moved house again, and we moved house twice in the snows, and we cancelled church once because of the snow. But actually throughout December, we then began to celebrate Christ with us, Jesus with us, Emmanuel, through our carol services, the first ones.
In fact, I don't know if you remember, we had some people working with us, the Battenbergs. Just a big shout out to them. They're following us on the chat as we speak. They're from Austria, and they said, you Brits, there's just a little bit of snow and everything stops.
They were flabbergasted by our kind of how pathetic we were with the snow. But we had a great time celebrating the birth of Jesus through these carol services. First time Christmas had been celebrated here for 45 years. And then in that first year, really for most of the year, the church was a bit of a building site. I'm not sure that health and safety was always up to scratch. But because of James's tireless effort and coordination, phase one of this building we're sitting in the on-site gathering was completed, and we began on the hub. So that's what the hub looked like. It had been a doctor's surgery. We began ripping out those partition walls, creating offices, and taking away all that NHS blue and making a lovely welcoming space for our children and young people. And throughout that year, we had the joy of seeing people coming to faith, seeing many more people reconnect with church. Sometimes after years of having been away, it was such a joy to see this place, this community coming back to life. And then we ended the year with 2 fantastic weddings. That's Hannah and Nat at the end of that first year, but also Hayley and Adam. So 2 amazing weddings, and they were making history as well. And we had some baptisms.
Baptisms were a key part.
Might be Nadine with Tom and Matt baptizing. Not sure.
Well, we'll look at, indeed. Well, we had lots of baptisms. Year 2, we've called a year of construction. If year 1 was a year of creation, year 2 a year of construction. We launched a morning service, which became accessible to a much wider group of people, especially those with young children. We were also, as we've said, able to host baptism, and the staff team was growing. We were able to welcome Sam and Hannah as interns as they came to join us with it. We launched Connect groups. We had 12 Connect groups that started at that point in time and starting to care for one another. And we welcomed Nikki and Pippa Gumbel. Was anybody here when Nikki and Pippa? Once again, a few of us were here. They came up from London, were able to encourage us. And Nikki shared a prophetic word that this church was full of hidden treasure. And of course, that's the people. That's you who are sitting here. That's you who are at home. That this is the treasure, hidden treasure that God is bringing to light and to life here in this place. Easter was brilliant. You may remember we started with a family service in the morning. Of course, Emily was in her costume once again, and we just lit up the church brilliantly with all of the tech team and just hung the cross over and above this church as a sign and as a symbol of God's life and resurrection power at Easter time. And we, of course, started to run a whole set of Invite One events. Many of you will be familiar with our Invite One events, coordinated brilliantly by Charlotte Eagles. And we ran things like family fun events and curry nights and mental health awareness events, just a whole range of stuff. The objective being to invite one or more people to come and be part of church and experience something of the love of Jesus. And the year ended with a group of us going to Focus. In fact, Emma and Quibus have already been on the chat. God bless you guys with Jacob, your newborn, and just saying how much they remember Focus and enjoyed that. This is just our reconstruction. We were going to be launching another trip to Focus for this coming summer, but of course that got put on hold. But Focus was a highlight of that year.
As always. So we had a year of creation, a year of consolidation, and year 3, a year of COVID. Although not quite a year, and some more positive things did happen before COVID hit. Perhaps most significantly, many of you will remember, we moved our 4 p.m. gathering to become a 6 p.m. gathering with a growing focus on students, young professionals, and young people. And then it was such a joy this time last year to welcome Megan and Angie and Sophie and Nick as interns. Look, aren't they amazing? And they brought so much enthusiasm and gifting to our team. Friday Night Youth, which Sophie had pioneered, really grew from strength to strength during this year. It was just a place young people could come, support each other, grow in their own faith. And also lots of them really led the way in inviting their friends to come and be part of things. And then we don't have a photo of this, but at the other end of the age spectrum, the church became a playground every Wednesday morning for mini marks as Hannah Peaty pioneered this brilliant toddler group. And then in February, the COVID crisis was beginning to loom. I remember very vividly, Phil, on March the 8th, you preached about a Christian response to coronavirus. By the end of the week, we believed, had coronavirus, although you were never tested.
A very rapid response.
That was a rapid response and not a very good response. And then on the following Sunday, we had our first live stream from the building, which Tom and Grace did. And then that was actually the last live stream from the building until today. And that was just a crazy, crazy season. Suddenly, all the techie types in the church became the people whose gifts were most treasured and esteemed.
Absolutely.
And Andy and Nathan and Stefan particularly did an amazing job of hosting and getting us online, getting us live streaming week by week, essentially from their living room. And very soon the amazing kids and youth team had gone fully online as well. But it has been an incredibly difficult season. There has been illness and bereavement in the church. There has been loss of employment. There's uncertain futures. And it's been so hard to be separated from one another and not to be able to worship God together. And yet God has continued. He never stops working, as that song that we're singing. God never stops working. And as we've gathered online, we've heard encouragements of how people have been touched by God. We've had a lot of people joining us. Some weeks, just short of 2,000 people have been with us, and we've been able to reach people that we would never we weren't reaching before this. We've launched Online Alpha. We're just going into our third Online Alpha, and we've seen numerous people come through that, come to faith, come to be part of this church community. So there have been great things happening within the pain, and of course the EP launched. But the story of the church is best told through the people who are part of the church. So let's have a listen to what some of the people of the church have gained through this community, what God has been doing in their lives.
We are the Colbeck family, Charlie, Hannah, Edward and Alice, and we've been going to St Mark's for 2 years now. Hannah and I are both serving in the army.
We were looking for a church when we moved up to the area, and we found St Mark's through the HTB network. It was our first chance to actually go to an HTB plant, and we were lucky to have a day with some of the team down at Focus before we moved up here. When we first got there, it was much louder than we were expecting and far more modern, but we very quickly got used to the new style of church.
Now, we've had some pretty funny moments throughout the year, but a couple stand out for me, which is Phil dressing up as an orange, very, very lovely, and trying to blow the church up with his science experiments.
And for me, the children's church, the friends we made, and the nativity are some of the memories that we will take with us.
Now, God's been working hard with our children over the last 2 years. We've certainly seen the benefit, with both of them very comfortably talking about Jesus throughout the day and through the weeks.
And we will leave at the end of the year sad but content that what we've done is laid really firm foundations, made incredible friends for life, and we can't wait to see St Mark's go on to flourish for 100 more years.
Good luck, St Mark's.
My name is Lou Pete, and I'm really new at St Mark's. I've met with lots of you, and there's lots more to come, and I know many of our young people as I serve them here at Blue Coat School. So I started coming along to St Mark's. I started by joining a Connect group back in April, online, and since then I've been occasionally helping in youth and then more regularly in youth, been on the Alpha team. We're now just starting our third Alpha course, which is really exciting, and serving more recently in safeguarding. Over that time, I've also had lots of meals out, pub visits, coffee, and encouraging phone calls and texts from loads of you as I seek to settle in. I think I'm most excited when we consider the third birthday about where St Mark's is with its vision now. We're still a baby church, but one with vision and expectation and that heart for the local community that I love too. And it was that, really, that finally made me take the plunge and to dive in.
Honestly, St Mark's has made such a difference to my life over these last 3 years, but over the last, 6 months or so, I have just been blown away by the commitment of our leaders to make us connect as a community in such difficult circumstances, and not just the adults in the community, the obvious people, apparently obvious people, but even the children, the kids, just making sure that there are activity sheets, fun, games, Bible stories, worship, everything, putting together the channel, getting us back into the building. Thank you to all of the leaders in St Mark's.
Hi everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nadine and I live in Rugby with my husband Paul and my daughters Olivia and Hannah. 3 years ago, I met Phil and Rachel via my daughter's school, and that's how I came to hear about St Mark's. I attended the first service after many years of not going to church. Now for me this wasn't a coincidence, but a sign and an invitation to return home to church. During one of the first services, I recall a song called I Surrender playing, which brought me to tears as the lyrics really resonated with me. Several weeks later, I stepped forward in one of our services and officially committed my life to Jesus. For me, this was a new beginning, and since then, I've embraced Alpha, reaffirmed my baptismal vows, and had the opportunity to serve on our kids and hosting teams. Being part of St Mark's and giving my life to Jesus has totally changed my perspective on life. I value people more. I value relationships. I am in awe of the world around us. I feel like my life has purpose now. I am at peace and truly living in my own grace. Walking through the door of St Mark's 3 years ago has truly changed my life for the better.
Hi there, my name's Caleb and I'm a second year computer science student studying at the University of Warwick. I first found St Mark's after my brother got talking to James Henney at a camp called Revive last summer. On his recommendation, I turned up and I've been around ever since. I've been here for 1 year now, so a third of the church's life, and I've loved it as a place I can call home. Over the course of the past year, it's been amazing to see how God's been growing the musical gifts He's given me through getting involved with the worship team, who have all been a real encouragement to me. My faith has also grown so much through the student night talks, discussion times with other students, and the Zoom small groups over the summer. I've learnt so much, and I'm incredibly grateful for this church and the solid foundation it's given me to grow and explore things for myself. I can't wait to see what another year will bring.
Well, so good to hear from those people.
Amazing people, amazing, lovely people.
Amazing, and a great shout out to Edward, who just gave us the big wave from the Colbacks earlier on in that video. I was looking back, looking forward, year 4, what does God have for us? I think one of the things I'd love to see is that this year is a year of generosity for us as a church. That as we've received, we can begin to give away or continue to give away. How do we do that? We can do that through connect groups, as we've said already. Actually being part of a connect group allows you, it's not just about what can I get, it's about what can I give. What can I actually offer to those who might be struggling, who might be having a hard time or a hard week or a hard day? How can I invest? How can I be generous towards those in this community? We want to be generous to those around us. We've already spoken many times about the refugee food hub. It's not going to be a food bank. It's going to be a food hub. Why? Because a hub is more associated with not just the provision of food, but actually the provision of relationship, friendship, kindness, compassion. And that's what we want to see happen here, hopefully in just a few weeks' time. Our youth hub, we want to give away to the young people in and around this area who are often being forgotten in the challenges of COVID. We want to invest in them and their lives. And of course, we want to be able to give away in terms of our people and our leaders. We've just launched, in fact, you've launched the St Mark's Academy, and we've got 6 amazing students, some of whom who are here this morning. 6 amazing students. We're able to invest in them. And then, God willing, they'll be able to actually help us send people out and be themselves sent out to launch church plants. We've got a number of ordinance trainee vicars who are able to help us with that. Matt Ford, you will of course know, but this year Matt Spina and Tris Peaty have joined them. We've got 3 ordinands. It's great that the future of the Church of England is in such good hands. And of course we've got Andy and Lucy Clasper as well. Just joined us. Andy is a curate with loads of experience. He's going to be heading up our connect groups, leading on some of our social action projects, and it's great to have them with us. We've got so much to be thankful for. We've got so much we can give. And as we do that, I'm just reminded of those words in Philippians 3. And Paul is saying, reflecting on his life, I want to press on towards the goal that we have in Jesus. Press on, strive forward, run the race well. And that's my call to, I guess, us, to myself, to us as church, that we would press on this year towards all that God has for us in Jesus. It's about Jesus. Our vision is ultimately Jesus. We talk about the 3 F's, how we want to see people find faith, how we want to see people set free and the city flourish. But that's encompassed, if you will, in the person of Jesus. It's about him. It's about falling into a deeper relationship, pursuing a deeper relationship with him and all that he has for us. And it's then having his resurrection power work in and through us as we go out into this world that we're called to. Because this church is all about the people outside the building, not about primarily us. It's about those outside. And earlier this week, our Bishop Christopher, spoke from outside this building and shared a few thoughts as to what has happened and what is going to happen. Have a listen to this.
Happy birthday, St. Mark's, or rather, happy birthday, resurrected St. Mark's. This is such an exciting day. So much has happened over the last 3 years. I'm standing, as you can see, outside the building of St. Mark's, and well, that's partly because for so many years that was all I saw, the outside of St. Mark's, as I went around the ring road. It's going to be a little bit noisy. I hope you can hear me through this. Thank you, Phil and Rachel, for taking up this invitation to come and rebuild the life of this church. Thank you, Tom and Charlotte, for joining them, and now Andy and Lucy, and thank you to everyone, especially those who joined in those early days and stood alongside Phil and Rachel, and all of you who've helped to build up the life of this Christian community here, right in the heart of Coventry. And this really is a Coventry story. I don't know about you, but I found myself drawing a whole lot of inspiration and strength from the story of Coventry Cathedral, that extraordinary story of the that's told by the ruined stones, the stones of suffering, that place of suffering. The cathedral destroyed in 1940 with so much of the city, and then the morning after that destruction, the provost, a wonderful man, we'd call him the dean now of the cathedral, Dick Howard, said, speaking prophetically, we will build a new cathedral, and it will be the cathedral of hope. He couldn't see what that new future would be. He wasn't denying the horror of what had happened. He wasn't just an inveterate optimist. He wasn't a dreamer. He was a believer that the God who entered into human suffering in Jesus Christ, living out human life, dying human death, was the God who triumphed through the resurrection. The resurrection, suffering and resurrection, death and life. That's the gospel, and that's embodied in the architecture, the very stones of Coventry Cathedral. And that story is again retold here at St. Mark's. For many years in my time in Coventry, I would drive around the ring road and I would look at St. Mark's and I would sort of despair. I would think, there's this church building, and yes, it was being put to good use, that's true, but it wasn't being put to the use that God had consecrated it for. And then God did a great thing among us. God lifted us out of that despair and said, I will build my church again in this place. And so there was all that work that you'll be thinking about and celebrating today, all that praying, and this new church came to life, and so much has happened since. My hope and prayer during this COVID crisis is not just that the nation, the city, the world, the church will recover from the dreadful impact of COVID. As real as its suffering has been, God is the God of more than recovery. God is the God of renewal. God is the God, as our history tells us, the history of Jesus Christ. God in history, God's story in human history, retold in Coventry Cathedral, relived here in St. Mark's, is that, and a bus is just going past now, so I'll proclaim it loudly. God is the God of resurrection, renewal and resurrection. And that's my heart for the Diocese of Coventry, for all the churches of Coventry and Warwickshire. Not only that we will recover from COVID, but that we will find great renewal in it and through it, and we will see resurrection. And you're already evidencing that at St. Mark's. well done for getting online so quickly, and I know thousands of people joined you, and even now some of those are finding their way into more of the heart and life of the church. Well done for getting back into physical worship and for keeping the streamed worship going. This is a remarkable thing from which other churches can learn and be encouraged. What we want here from St Mark's, and I know this is the very heart of Phil and Rachel and all of the leadership, is not just that this St Mark's community will be rebuilt and renewed, resurrected, but that through this community, that renewal and that resurrection will spread throughout Coventry and Warwickshire, throughout the diocese, and we're praying and hoping that we'll see some of the first fruits of that quite soon with some new church plants. What I've been working at and praying for in my time as bishop now, coming up, I don't know, I think I'm in my 13th or 14th year, I'm losing track, is that the church will be healthier. The church will be stronger because it is healthier, because it is becoming more like the community, the people that Jesus wants us to be. And healthy churches that have the health of Christ in them, the health and vitality of the Spirit, are themselves naturally growing churches. And that's what you've seen here, and Phil and Rachel and team have been so careful to build, quite slowly to begin with, a healthy church community that will become naturally a growing church community. Now the challenge for you and the challenge for other churches in Coventry Diocese that have been going through that journey is to become, continue to be healthy, continue to be growing, but like any good ecology, to become then self-propagating, not just to keep that life for ourselves, but to share that life with others. That's the dynamic of the gospel. That's the dynamic of the church, to grow and to self-propagate. And that's what's happened through these 2,000 years. That's why we're part of the biggest movement in world history, the Christian church, because from those very small beginnings, out of death, the life of the resurrection, the renewal of the Holy Spirit, which led to the church growing and the church self-propagating from Jerusalem, Samaria, Rome, unto the ends of the earth. And the Lord promised to be with us, and He is with us in this COVID crisis and through this COVID crisis into the future that God has for us. So St Mark's, be a church of the resurrection. That's your DNA. Be a church of the renewal of the Holy Spirit. Be a church that leads others into life. And as another bus goes past, let me proclaim again, be a church which helps to grow other churches throughout this diocese, and pray God beyond. Bless you on your third birthday as the resurrected St Mark's.
Jesus, oh, to every heart, we are lost without your glory. We are lost without you, God. Be the fire that burns within us, flames of love that purify. Send your power and your salvation, let it 'cause only you can move the mountains. Only you can heal and let Christ alone, our hope and glory. Christ alone, in you we stand. Turn your eyes and show us mercy. How we need your Father's love. Lead us on and out of darkness with your gospel burning light. 'Cause only you can move the mountains. Only you can heal our land. Christ alone, our hope and glory. Christ alone, in you we stand. Only you can move the mountains. Only you can heal our land. Christ alone, our hope and glory. Christ alone, in you we stand. 'Cause we believe our God is mighty. We believe our God is it. We believe our King is coming. Christ alone, in you we stand. Praise the Lord, our God is mighty. Praise the Lord, our God is it. Praise the Lord, our King is coming. Christ alone, in you we stand. Only you can move the mountains. Only you can heal our land. Christ alone, our hope and glory. Christ alone, in you we stand. Only you can move the mountains. Only you can heal our land. Christ alone, our hope and glory. Christ alone, in you we stand. Christ alone, in you we stand. Christ alone, in you we stand. In you we stand. In you we stand. And only you can move the mountains. Only you can heal our land. Christ alone, our hope and glory. Christ alone, in you we stand. Christ alone, in you we stand. Oh, Christ alone, in you we stand.
Well, do please grab a seat for those of you who are here. If you've been standing at home, do grab a seat. You know, no birthday would be complete without cake, without candles. We're going to light them. In fact,
the moment of celebration has come.
Indeed. Should we light the candles? Who's going to do that?
I think probably you should do it.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
We've had accidents with matches in the past. We will leave it to you. It's great to see so many joining us online, and just some highlights. Rachel Bowes says her highlight was when she came and received such a warm welcome, and also being in actually our Connect group where she learned more about the church, met lots of new people. It's great to see so many faces on the screen and to hear all your chats. And I now feel like someone presenting the news who is waiting for the person to come through on their live stream. We will get this candle lit, but we might need another match. Just looking for some more comments, but my eyes are so bad. Oh, Charlie Cullep's on here, Shannon, the Colbecks, the Phipps. Here we go. Happy birthday, us. Give ourselves a cheer if you're on site. Give ourselves a cheer if you're online. Here we go. Last time we did one of these, it was on Phil's head as a Chris Dingle, which Charlie referred to, but it's much safer here on the cake. Girls, are you going to blow the balloons? Let's open the bubbly. Let's celebrate 3 years of all that God has been doing. And all birthdays are an anticipation of what's to come. God has only just begun with this place. There is so much more that he is going to do as we go into the next years, months and years together. Don't shake it too much. We are standing close. I'm going to grab a knife. We're going to cut the cake.
Ready? 3, 2, hey!
Happy birthday, St. Mark's. And let's cut this cake, ceremonial cutting of the cake, which we can't really pass around because we're trying to be COVID secure, but it's a virtual birthday celebration. Happy birthday, and a huge thanks from us to each one of you here, each one of you watching online, and many who perhaps have moved on to other places. We're doing this together, and we're so grateful for each one of you. We love you all, and we can't wait till we're back to normal and able to gather normally.
Why don't we, as we end, let's pray together. Father, thank you. Thank you so much for what you have done. This is your church. You built it. It's founded on you, and it's going to move forward in the strength of you. And we pray a blessing, Father, on all of those who associate themselves with St. Mark's, that you would lead us on. All of those who have moved on, we would bless them, Lord. That your kingdom would come and your will would be done. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. We're going to raise a glass. There is actually Prosecco for those who would like it. Socially, COVID secure Prosecco. Is that possible? Yes, it is. Available at the back for those who are here in the building. For those at home, you're going to have to find some of your own, I'm afraid.
It's a great incentive to come to church, though, isn't it?
It is a great incentive to come to church.
If you come to the on-site gathering,
you get drinks.
Although you might have to wait till next year to get Prosecco again.
No rush. So good to have you with us. We're going to raise a glass. We're going to blow the, have we got the little whistles we have? We're going to blow
Give
those.
us a blow.
God bless you. Thanks for being with us. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.